Another complicated day in Washington. We are in day 28 of the partial government shutdown. President Trump announced a plan that he hopes will bring it to an end, but already Democrats don't appear convinced. Here's a look at each side of the president's plan. It'll grant temporary legal status to the 700,000 Dreamers, giving them 3 years of protection from deportation, access to work permits, and Social Security numbers. The president said this plan was put together with input from rank-and-file Democrats, and while he urged the two sides to come together, he also had plenty of criticism from Democratic leaders about what he said.
Both sides in Washington must simply come together, listen to each other, put down their armor, build trust, reach across the aisle, and find solutions. The radical left can never control our borders. I will never let it happen. Walls are not immoral.
Democratic leaders shot down the president's plan before he even formally got to present it. Despite that, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said that he expects that this proposal will get a vote in the Senate next week.